Students, once again welcome you all to the world of physics, especially lasers, right? I am Dr. K. Rajesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Amartya University. Students, we are going to discuss today a special topic. You guys are very much interested on this because without this, nothing is impossible, right? And this is lasers. Okay, we are going to see about lasers. As you all know, the definition of laser: light amplification by stimulated emission of light, right? So this is very easy to understand that if any radioactive material is stimulated by any external source, by an external medium or any external work, it will be produce some amount of emission. Okay, that emission must be a laser emission. That means radioactive material must be stimulated and that will be amplified. That is what the expansion has given: light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, right? So we have multiple number of types of lasers: solid laser, very first solid laser, ruby laser, and NdOG laser, niobium laser, and gas lasers are there, helium neon laser you are studying in your school level, right? Krypton argon lasers, and we have a molecular laser, CO2 laser, that we are going to discuss today, and semiconductor lasers are there, right? Your liquid lasers are there, that is light dye lasers are there, right? So today we are going to discuss only about a molecular gas laser, CO2 laser, right? Let's go to the class. So students, if you want to know what is CO2 laser, how it will be works, you must know what is the principle behind the CO2 laser and who was the inventor of the CO2 laser. You are very surprised that the inventor of CO2 laser is an Indian scientist, C.K.N. Patil. In 1964, he found out this molecular laser. Okay, this is the first molecular laser in the gas laser type, right? So CO2 laser. So principle of CO2 laser is very somewhat complicated. Okay, so other lasers, your school level laser, your solid laser are very easy to understand. CO2 laser principle is somewhat difficult, but it will very easy to understand when you understand the concept, right? So we know that CO2 is a molecular. That means it has one carbon molecule and two oxygen molecules, atoms, right? So vibrational is going to be takes place when you give energy to your CO2 molecules, and it will be vibrating. Okay, different types of vibrations are there. This vibrations modes of CO2 laser will lead to the laser action in CO2 laser. Okay, what is the principle? Vibrational states of CO2 laser will give the laser action. Okay, there are three vibrational states. One is symmetric stretching. Okay, stretching, you know what, right? Pulling something in a mean position or a different position. Asymmetric stretching, bending. Okay, these three vibrational modes will give the laser action in the CO2 laser. The first mode is stretching mode, which is shown in the diagram, right? As I explained that CO2 molecule will have three atoms, carbon and oxygen, right? Two oxygen atoms, right? So the symmetric stretching, this carbon atom, the middle one is the carbon atom and the extreme two atoms are oxygen atom. In this mode, carbon atom remains in the center. In CO2 laser, this symmetric stretching mode, carbon atoms remains in the structure, right? Two oxygen molecules are going to be vibrated away to the carbon atom or towards the carbon atom, right? So this will give the energy. That means carbon remains in the center, it will be unchanged. Oxygen are moving away or towards the carbon atom. Okay, this is the first stretching mode, right? The second one is bending mode. In this bending mode, both carbon and oxygen atoms are vibrating. How they are vibrating? Carbon is going to move upward side and oxygen are moving to the downward side, right? So they are perpendicular to each other, and this is known as bending mode, and this is also producing energy. The third one is asymmetric bending, asymmetric stretching. Okay, in this mode, while in the symmetric mode, carbons remains unchained in symmetric mode. In asymmetric stretching mode, both carbon and atom and oxygen atom are going to be vibrating, they are going to move. Okay, but in this case, carbon is approaching toward an oxygen atom in one direction okay, are going away to the oxygen atom. Okay, so these are the three vibrational modes of carbon dioxide, and these three vibrational modes are giving the energy to the carbon dioxide molecule to produce an laser action, right? What are the modes? Symmetric stretching mode, carbon remains constant, oxygens are vibrating, bending, both atoms are moving up and down. Asymmetric, both will move away or towards in one direction, right? These three are vibration modes of carbon dioxide molecule, right? Right. So now the structure of carbon dioxide laser or the working principle are going to be explained later, and how this action is going to be takes place. As I told, that principle is vibrational modes of carbon dioxide molecule will produce a laser action, right? And this is the structure, or this is the setup of carbon dioxide laser, right? In that we have a gas mixture of three gases, helium, nitrogen and carbon dioxide, right? And that we have two mirrors, only fully reflecting mirror M1, and this is partially reflecting mirror. What is partially reflecting mirror, right? Whenever the reaction takes place, okay, these two mirrors are going to be used as a resonator. Okay, so once the laser is attained the maximum energy, this fully reflecting mirror is going to be used to produce the laser to pass us through it. Okay, this is partially reflecting mirror, and we have a vacuum pump to discharge everything, or just look at everything in from the tube. This is electrical discharge tube. The method is used here in this carbon dioxide molecule is electrical discharge method. There are many pumping methods to bring this atom in the lower energy state to the upper energy state. Okay, so one of the pumping method is electrical discharge method. Optical pumping are there, it is mainly used in solid laser. Electrical discharge method are used in molecular laser and gas lasers, right? And we have a direct collision method, inelastic collision method. Okay, so these are the methods to pump these atoms in the excited state. Okay, when this laser action is going to takes place, when all the atoms in the ground state are excited by an external force, normally light force or heat force, they are moving to the excited state. Okay, and this position, this process is known as population inversion, where the number of atom in the excited state is higher than the number of atom in the lower state. This is known as population inversion. To achieve this population inversion, we are following some steps or some process. This is known as pumping methods: optical pumping method, electrical pumping method, electrical discharge method, direct collision method, inelastic collision method. Okay, these are the pumping method to pump these atoms in the ground state to excited state, right? So now for CO2 laser, we are using electrical discharge method. Since we are using an electrical potential, okay, we are use electrical discharge method. Okay, I am explaining what has happened here, right? So we know that helium is an inert gas. So what will be the part of this helium gas here? It is an inert gas. It can use as a catalyst. So what is the work of a catalyst? It will be speed up the process, right? Any chemical process, right? So initially I am discharge everything in this, or I am vacating everything. I am making it as a vacuum using a vacuum tube, right? Now nothing is there in that electrical discharge. This tube is known as electrical discharge tube, and I am using NaCl Brewster window here. It will be increase the reflection, it will be increase the resonating process. Okay, resonation is very important process in produced CO2 laser, right? So I am use NaCl window here, right? So after vacate everything, after it will become vacuum, the electrical discharge tube, I am going to connect this into the power supply, right? When I connect to the power supply to the vacuum tube, electrons are filled with the vacuum tube. Electrons are filled with the vacuum tube. With high pressure, I am sending all the three mixture of gases into the tube. When this tube is opened, okay, all the mixture of gases are going to be into the tube, right? Since helium it is inert gas, it is not going to be acted with electron, but our action is need to be comes out from carbon dioxide. Then what is the work of this nitrogen atom, right? Since here is filled by electron, electron cannot be acted with carbon dioxide directly because both having negative charge. So I just need a positive charge material over here. For that I am using nitrogen, right? So using nitrogen, we'll get the charges from the electron, okay, and this charge is then transferred to the carbon dioxide, right? You understand why I am using nitrogen, right? Electrons are filled in here. When the mixture of gas is pumped into the electrical discharge tube, electron cannot be combined with carbon dioxide. Initially the electron is going to be combined with nitrogen, and this energy of the nitrogen is going to be transferred to carbon dioxide as an inelastic collision method. So two processes are going to be used here. One is electrical discharge method and inelastic collision method. This inelastic collision method is going to be takes place in the upper energy level, right? Then so once the CO2 molecule is attained the minimum sufficient energy, not laser energy, it kind of energy, okay. Initially the CO2 will produce some amount of radiation, but it is not a laser radiation, right? It comes out from the Na-Broussel window and goes and hit with the mirror M1 or M2, right? It doesn't have the sufficient energy. For example, my required energy is 10 kilowatt or 10 micrometer, 10 kilowatt. It doesn't have the sufficient energy. What happened? It bounced back and it goes through to the electrical discharge tube, and it will be hitted with the fully reflected mirror. If a fully reflected mirror, it is obvious that it will be reflected back all the radiation incident on it, okay. It will be keep on reflecting back between M1 and M2, okay. When it is keep on reflecting back M1 and M2, the resonation process will take place, and it will be improve the energy of the incident laser source or radiation, okay. Once the radiation reaches the maximum value, that is laser value, this M2 mirror is allow the radiation to passes through it, and here we are getting the laser rays, okay. I am explaining the process once again. The electrical discharge tube was evacuated using a vacuum tube, and I am connected to electrical potential. I am pumping three mixture of gases. Electron from the electrical potential will be collide with the nitrogen initially, then the nitrogen energy will be transferred to carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide initially produce a minimum energy, not a laser energy, and then this radiation will be continuously keep on reflected back between the M1 M2 mirror, okay. Once the energy is attained the maximum sufficient energy, M2 mirror is allow the energy to passes through it, and we are finally getting the laser ray, okay. In this method we are getting the laser in two different wavelength. One laser will have a 10.6 micrometer wavelength, and the other one is having 9.6 micrometer, right. So this is the process, and this is the description of the CO2 laser. By this I can explain the concept in an energy level diagram, right. Let's see the energy level diagram. So we are completely discussed about the process, how the laser is produced in an experimental setup, okay, in a lab. So how theoretically we understand this, how theoretically we can understand the laser action. It's very important. For this question, equal marks will be given to the experimental procedure and as well as the theoretical aspects, right. So we are discussing CO2 laser, okay. Let me state something. Type of laser. What is the type of laser? It is a molecular gas laser. Molecular gas laser. What is the pumping source? Electrons are the pumping source, okay. What is pumping method here using? What is the pumping method we are using? Electrical discharge method, okay, electrical discharge method, and somewhat we are using this inelastic collision also, okay, but the basic method is electrical discharge method. When we collide nitrogen and carbon dioxide, it is known as inelastic collision, okay. So this is the basic method, and we must know other method is also associated with this, right. And then so these three are basic things. Type of laser is molecular gas laser, and pumping medium is mixture of CO2, nitrogen and helium. Okay, pumping medium or basic source, right? So these four you must remember, right? So once pumping action takes place, population inversion is achieved, and then this laser action takes place, right? As we explained in the experimental procedure, we must know how theoretically it will be work, right? Consider, let me erase this. So for that we must understand what is the energy level variation in CO2 laser and how this energy level is work in the CO2 laser, right? As I told, so nitrogen is the first thing is getting energy from the electron, right? So equation becomes the first steps of CO2 laser will be gaining energy from the electron by nitrogen, right? So N plus E star, this star indicates electron will have energy, right? So it becomes N star plus E. Okay, so N ground state atoms of nitrogen, ground state atom of nitrogen. E star indicates electrons with energy. Okay, so N star nitrogen with energy. Okay, E electron with lesser energy, because electron will not lose all its energy. It has some energy, retain some energy, right? So this is the first process. Nitrogen will absorb the energy from the electron which comes from the potential, right? And it will be transferred to the nitrogen atom. This is the first process, right? So this, I have two energy lower level. This is E0 level or E1 level, first level, ground level, right? This is for nitrogen and this is for carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is for nitrogen. I am going to use a different color for carbon dioxide. Okay, I'm going to use blue as a carbon dioxide, right? So once the electron is given the energy to the nitrogen atoms are directly going to the E5 energy state. Okay, these are energy level. Okay, so E5 energy state. Okay, the nitrogen atoms are moving to the E5 energy state after absorbing the electron energy, right? Then the second process is going to be takes place. The second process is getting energy by the carbon dioxide from the nitrogen. Okay, so nitrogen plus carbon dioxide without energy. This is nitrogen with energy, carbon dioxide lower energy level without any energy. It becomes CO2 with energy and nitrogen lose its energy. Okay, this is the second process. This process is known as inelastic collision process. Okay, because it will not, nitrogen will not become a its original state, and again carbon dioxide will not become a original state because it gaining energy and nitrogen is going to be lost its energy. Okay, this is inelastic collision process, right? Here CO2 star is CO2 molecule with energy. Okay, CO2 is simply a CO2 molecule, right? So this is the second process. So initially nitrogen is getting energy from electron, and after that carbon dioxide is getting electron energy from the nitrogen. Okay, so now this inelastic collision takes place in the excited state itself. The inelastic collision takes place in the excited state itself, right? That means this action takes place in the E5 energy level. This action is going to be takes place in the E5 energy level. Okay, right? And we have E4 energy level, then E3 energy level, E2 energy level. Okay, these are energy level, right? So every laser action is decided by the lifetime of a particular energy state. What is the lifetime? So how long the electron is going to be or atom is going to be situated in a particular energy will decide the laser action. If the lifetime is very low, that is the rapid transition from the one energy level to another energy level, it won't be a laser action. It will be a normal light or heat reaction, right? So if the lifetime of a particular energy level is high, then the next energy level transition will be a radiative transfusion, that will be a laser transition, right? So after gaining energy of nitrogen by the electron, from the electron it will be transfer the energy to CO2 molecule in E5 energy level. Then the lifetime of E5 energy level of carbon dioxide will be a huge, somewhat higher energy lifetime. Okay, so the next transition must be a radiative transition. So this transition takes place in a two different energy level, between the two energy levels. Okay, from E5 to E4 one transition takes place. Again from E5 to E3 another transition takes place. Both the transition are radiative transition. That means this is also a radiative transition. That means these two transitions are laser transition. Okay, in this two way I'm going to get laser action. I'm just use two arrows. Okay, two arrows in a transition indicates that it will be a laser transition, right? So if it is having only one arrow, that will be a heat transition or simply a light transition. Okay, from this transition I'm going to get a laser with the wavelength 10.6 micrometer. From the second transition I'm going to get laser action with 9.6 micrometer, right? So E5 energy level of carbon dioxide will have a huge lifetime. So the next transitions are laser transition. The first transition takes place from the E5 to E4, 10.6 micrometer will be the wavelength, and the next transition is E5 to E3. Okay, after that the stimulated emissions is finished. Okay, these are the stimulated emissions. There are two types of emissions. One is stimulated emission, that means the emission was triggered by an external source. This external source is a nitrogen energy, that is the external source is the energy from the electron. Okay, now this energy is getting from the nitrogen, so it's triggered these atoms in the excited states. Now this will be a stimulated emission, right? If it is not a radiation emission, it will be known as spontaneous emission, right? So the lifetime of E4 and E3 are very low. So these transitions are non-radiative transition. From E4 to E3, and E3 to E2 to E1s are non-radiative transition. Okay, so I am going to get single rays. These are all non-radiative rays, non-radiative transitions, right? You understand the energy level diagram, theoretical aspects. Once nitrogen is getting energy from electron, it moves to excited state, right? So these excited states, the nitrogen will transfer the energy to the carbon dioxide. That will be takes place in the E5 energy level itself. Okay, since it is having a 4 states, this is known as 4-state laser, right? So the lifetime will be high. The transitions are laser transition. 10.6 and 9.6 micrometers are the corresponding wavelength of the laser action. These are all stimulated emission transition. Other transition are non-radiative transition because the lifetime will be very low, and these are all spontaneous radiation, right? So this is how this laser action is going to be takes place in CO2 laser, right? So from this laser I'm going to get output power as 10 kilowatt. Okay, last time we have discussed about Nd:Arc laser, that will be gives output of 20 kilowatt. This laser will give 10 kilowatt output. And then type of output. It will be a continuous type. Okay, say this type of output will be a continuous, sometimes it may be a pulse laser also. We can use both pulse and continuous laser from CO2 laser. This is the only main advantage of your CO2 laser. It can give, you can use it as a continuous laser, or you can use it as a pulse laser, right? So you must remember 5 things in CO2 laser. The one is, what is the principle used in this laser? I'm just give a recap. Principle of CO2 laser is vibrational modes of carbon dioxide will give the laser action. What are the vibrational modes? Stretching, symmetric stretching, asymmetric stretching, and bending, right? And type of laser is, it's a molecular laser, molecular gas laser, and it is a 4-state molecular gas laser. What is the pumping method is using your electrical discharge method, and finally we are using inelastic collision method also, right? And what is the pumping source? Potential, electrical potential is the pumping source, right? Active medium is the source medium, okay? Here the active medium is mixture of 3 gases. What will be the output? 10 kilowatt. If the output, if you have measured in wavelength, it will be 10.6 micrometer and 9.6 micrometer, okay? Nearly equal, so I just used as a 10 wavelength, right? And it will be a type, will be a continuous laser, okay? So we have completely discussed construction, working, and energy theoretical aspects of CO2 laser. Now, what are the applications of CO2 laser? Okay, wherever we are using this CO2 laser, where we are going to use this CO2 laser, right? CO2 laser, it is a continuous laser, that will be high intense laser, high power laser. It is a high power laser, right? So definitely it going to be used in material processing, okay? Because material processing like cutting, drilling, welding, and soldering are using high power lasers. So CO2 laser can be easily fit into that applications, right? So in medical purpose, sir, it is very high intense laser, can be used in medical purpose. As a controlled manner, CO2 laser also can be used in medical usage. Like your liver and lungs diseases, in nowadays, doctors are using controlled CO2 lasers, okay? And its attenuation is very moderate, and it will be very suitable for air communication because its wavelength is 10.6 micrometer. So the attenuation is suitable for air communications. We are using it as in sensors also, okay? These are the applications. Advantage of this laser. What will be the advantage? Okay, the CO2 laser construction is very simple. Construction of CO2 laser is very simple. That is the main advantage. And it is a high power output laser, second advantage. And it output will be continuous. Main thing is output will be continuous. These are the 3 main advantages of CO2 laser. What are the continuous output, high power, and construction of CO2 laser will be very easy, okay? So anyway, it has many advantage and applications, okay? Everything must have a disadvantage. This is also having a disadvantage, right? So main disadvantage of this is we are using CO2 in chemical reaction. This CO2 becomes a monoxide, carbon monoxide. So this makes a contamination of the apparatus, right? And second one, since the electrical discharge, electrons are using electrical discharge method, the surface of the electrical discharge tube can be corrosed, okay? This corrosion takes place, right? So this is the main disadvantage of the CO2 laser, okay? So okay students, so we are discussed principle, working, theoretical as well as experimental and applications, and what are the advantage of CO2 lasers, okay? We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.